How do we handle rejections in our daily life?
Why do you feel rejected? My question is that why, like I started my journey, or I think I'm the only person who writes Energy Alchemist. Many people write many different things, but I chose my own title. I never thought who would accept me because I had no rejection in myself. We have this rejection because we feel that within ourselves. Because we ourselves cannot accept us. So there is no rejection outside. It's already existing inside. So you need to first check, have a reality check where the rejection within yourself is coming. When I was a kid, my father always told me that there is nothing a woman can't do, what a man can't do. So I never had a disbelief of a equality or a gender bias or anything like that. So for me, it's a truth. That's why I've walked my journey all alone. Put my own title to it. People have started following me. If I would have this craving, or I would have had this thought that people would believe in me or not believe in me, because that's my own challenge. That's my own problem. Because I'm not able to conquer my own inner space. So that's the reason we are not accepted by others. That's why the pure person is, nobody can reject you until and unless you're not rejecting yourself. That's the energy of how you throw it out.
This is episode number 8 of Keep Me Inspired podcast show with Richa Jindal.
Welcome guys to Keep Me Inspired. My name is Shivatma and I am your host for this show. Every 15 days I will be interviewing today's most inspiring and successful personalities who will range from CEOs, YouTubers, authors and other change makers in order to help you to make early life-changing decisions and realize your true worth. Hello everyone, in this episode we have with us Richa Jindal. Richa Jindal is an energy alchemist and a certified hypnotherapist. She is a successful entrepreneur running her family business for the past 23 years. She is trying to find answers to the questions of the soul journey. We are very fortunate to have with us Richa Jindal with us here today. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you, Shivraj, for having me.
Ma'am, I would like to know more about you. In country like India, how did you start a rare journey like an energy alchemist?
So it's a long story, but I will just shorten my story by sharing the first thing. As a child, I could see energies, I could feel energies, but I could not express them in words because I come from a background which does not believe in energies. So I am born into a Punjabi culture where energies are no people generally do not understand energies. So then I kept on walking this path and I kept on understanding. And when I married my childhood friend, and the family is very religious, so I started understanding what religion was, but I still could not find my answers in the religion. And then I started exploring more. And when my younger son was about to be born, at that time, by default, the Kundalini, which we talk about, had started rising in my physical body, which I never knew. So I did not knew the technicalities of the Kundalini or anything. So because I never had a teacher, or I never had anybody to teach me about all these things. And then I kept on understanding, started getting lot of trance states in my body because of that. And then I started experiencing and having different kind of experiences which generally we've either read in the books, or we've kind of heard through many sages or some people. Like, we've never, generally we don't read them, we generally read them in books. We generally it's very less that we come across with people like them. So those were the experiences which started happening. And by default, at that time, I had joined the ISKCON temple. So I was so much connected, and these trance states kept on taking me on a different journey of energy, and all the different dimensions which we always call, which I started experiencing, but I could not put them in words. And that journey also started taking me into many of my past lives. So I have been able to see 10 of my past lives without any professional help. And I am like currently also living one of my past lives only. So that also started giving me a lot of answers to the questions like why does the body create disease? Because the body has the mechanical power to heal itself. And I also started, my uncle is a doctor. My real first paternal uncle is a doctor. So I would see so many people diseased in our hospitals, and I was like surprised that why the medicine was only treating them, why there was not a permanent cure. Because the body, like I've seen many people having cancer, the body would again after operation also, or being operated again, create cancer. So I was like always had this curiosity to understand that how the body defaults the energy settings. And when we always listen to the sages and people, like everything in this universe is energy, everything is made up of energy, we are energy. So then I started understanding the current life of a human being more. And as a student, as in my college, I had done psychology, and I was also a student of sociology. So I would see this human behavior and how this, we always talk about the emotions, but I could see that feelings worked in a very different way than emotions, and the emotions were too different than feelings. They were two different entities, and how the unconscious was so much affected by than the subconscious. So I was always trying to find my answers. And I was when in my past life regression, because when I used to do these past life, and still I do these past life regression sessions, I would see that so much pain would come from the past life. And when we would take the client into a past life regression session, the medulla would open up so many things which were so much restored, and there would be so much pain where the soul would open up into, they would talk about a particular scene of their life which was coming from their past life, and they would share or show us that how in that particular situation, that emotional, that whole conduit was created in the heart, and how the pain was carried forward to the next lifetimes. And that increased my curiosity of understanding this pain more deeply, and how that pain was also still existing, and how we were always as human beings craving for to be happy. Like if we look at our lives, we're always trying to do something to make ourselves happy.
Hmm.
I think you always agree with that.
Yes, ma'am.
And we always try to do something which would make us happy. And you would also agree to this thing that it does not take us long to even become unhappy in the same situation.
Yeah.
So then I started finding the answer that why, even when we are happy, and why we become suddenly unhappy in the same situation. And that started giving me more answers and more of my findings, more of my connections with the unconscious. And that is what kept me going. And I've been working with so many people who are psychologists who are internationally doing, and some of my clients are some of the people I've trained are also internationally. Past 13 years or 18 years they've been doing. I've trained a few homeopathic doctors also, because they also work on the DNA and how the whole imprints were holding from the past life in on the DNA, and how we create the same things in the current life. So my understanding for the human, I wouldn't say mind, but for the unconscious was becoming a fascination within me. And that kept on keeping me and moving me ahead. And now when I work with people, I see how quick it is for us to do these sessions, and how fast it is for us to heal people. Like so many things we, like there have been people who've been going through skin diseases from the age of 8, or people having back pains for a very very long time, and people talking about manifestation. And every area they would create a blockage in some way or the other, which was not in the subconscious, which was in the unconscious. I again and again repeat myself by saying the unconscious, not the subconscious, because I've seen that the subconscious holds very less power than what the unconscious holds. So the unconscious is so blocked and so deeply hurt that the soul wouldn't open your journey till the time your karmic lessons are not complete. So for every human who comes into a life, he's always wanting to understand his soul, or understand his release his karmic baggages. But in the whole releasing of the karmic baggages, what I started seeing is that people were more focused on the physical aspect. But the physical aspect was not helping them grow in the spiritual aspect. So they were again and again creating an imbalance, and the imbalance was making them more unhappy than making them unhappy. Like when we talk about people achieving so much in the physical space, and I even read the biography of the Apple CEO, and I was seeing that how even after reaching a certain point in time and even doing so many things, why people still get these diseases. So these diseases really fascinate me, that how the body is creating so many diseases. And I started writing on that. And then I created this workshop called the DNA Matrix, where people get trained from me and people also help other. They really, many of them are healers who've been pranic healing, into pranic healing, into Reiki, and they weren't able to still find the answers or help people, doctors. So I've been working with a lot of people now, and the kind of results they're getting, I feel so happy and blessed that the universe chose me, and I understood what my soul wanted me to do, and I could just connect with my soul and believe in myself and listen to actually what my soul wanted to do. And that is why my soul is also helping me in my journey to conquer and bring all those people who I have to connect with. And I would genuinely tell you, wouldn't believe that I am not even putting a single effort into it. It's just keeping on coming. I don't know how people get connected to me. Like, I've been so busy, I hardly get time even to create my videos, which I was like, I would do regularly earlier. And this makes me more happy because my job is to, or my soul's purpose is to really heal people, help people. And that's what I've been doing. So that really fascinates me when I as a soul am able to create a profession out of my past life, my own past life. And I feel so blessed that I took the right decision at the right time.
Ma'am, I think you are the best person to answer this. Just like you found what you were meant to be, like how did you find your passion and how can everyone find their passion and purpose in life?
See, the whole journey is that many people, like when we talk about meditation, I'm a very strong believer and a strong recommender of meditation. I also do a lot of meditations and I've put a lot of meditations. I keep on putting a lot of meditations on the groups also. And the biggest thing is when we talk about meditation, people generally meditate on the physical level. And when we talk about understanding our own soul journey, we are always listening. We do not understand when we are talking to the mind, or I have, like, many people say, oh, my soul is talking to me. Generally, people are never able to understand when the soul is talking and when the mind is talking. So you really have to practice the quietness. There is a difference. There are two very important words. One is quietness and one is silence. In the quietness, we are always having a chatter inside. The chatter stops outside, but there is a chatter inside. But when we are calm, we become like that water, which is pure silence, like the nature where there is no voice, where everything chirping can be heard. That is when you can hear your soul's voice. And I think I've been meditating for, I think I don't know, I don't even remember how many years now. But the more I meditated, I saw that how my soul and how the inner calmness grew from the journey of quietness to calmness. And the more I kept on doing it, the more I started.
Ma'am, did you hear the word Vipassana meditation?
Yeah, I've heard, and I've also trained many people who have been into Vipassana, because see, everybody goes into a spiritual path to find their answers.
Ma'am, can you just tell us some more about Vipassana meditation? Because even I am going to do this on December.
Okay, so Vipassana is a 10-day silence. It's a quiet, silent, where you are just with yourself. There is nobody around you. You don't have any paper, pen, or nothing. I've never been to Vipassana. That's what I've heard how it works. So I have never been into Vipassana, but that is where my students who told me that this is how it works. And the biggest thing is that when we talk about Vipassana, it's more of internalizing silence within your own self. And the biggest thing with Vipassana is now, whenever there is a silence, we are never able to even differentiate between the silence. And I've seen many people also go into fear when we see certain things in that duration. So the right guides or the right mentors are very important in the spiritual journey. And I, to be very honest, it's not a, I wouldn't disrespect anybody. But to be very honest, it's more of the lacking of the right mentors. I always feel that
Mm-hmm.
we are so rich in our heritage. India is a culture where we are so rich in our heritage, especially in this spiritual aspect. But the biggest problem here is that the kind of knowledge being spread, I think it's now become more of information than knowledge. So that is where the lacking of the whole spiritual path also deflates itself. Rather than uplifting the person, it is more about keeping the person in the physical space. Whereas if you look at spirituality or the soul or connecting with your soul, physical is the least which is required.
So it is completely a mental game.
It's becoming more because, see, people are only talking about what you want to hear
Mm-hmm.
more and more rather than what you should be getting or what you should be giving. Like there are many true gurus, but the true gurus are hardly showing their presence. The reason is they don't want to get into the game of
Competition.
because they understand what the game is. Yeah, it's become more of the commercial aspect than the true aspect. So it's actually losing its essence. And I think people are also started projecting it in a very, very different way than it should be. So that is where I think people also have a trust and a mistrust both at the same time. So there is a strong belief and a strong disbelief about going into or understanding into the soul journey or understanding the spiritual path.
Ma'am, in your videos, you talk a lot about our karma.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us, in short, what is karma? And I know this time is not sufficient to explain everything in complete detail, but I wanted to know some in brief the 12 laws of karma.
Yeah. So I'll just start with making you understand that even when you're breathing, that's your karma. You're doing to survive. That's a karma.
Mm-hmm.
So we all are like right now you're talking to me, we both are doing our karma. I'm the person speaking and you're the person asking. So we both are performing our karmas. But the only thing is how you would perform it. So it's like you've been given a job of a human being. How well would you perform your job or how bad would you perform your job? The karmic baggages would be created accordingly, depending on what kind of intentions you have. And the biggest thing is when people talk about karma so much and they never understand, we have a very strong disbelief even when we talk about karma. We say that we believe in karma and the other person would be punished because
Yeah.
he hasn't done something wrong. But if we believe in that, we don't need to say that. It's automatically the person would get punished. But when we feel hurt or we are in pain, we tend to make it sure a point that we say the word. So
Mm-hmm.
even if we are hurt, we are trying to negate our own emotions or say those negative words. So we are also, even at the time when we are hurt, we are also along with that creating a negative karma. If we believe, like if you understand it this way, when we say there is God,
Mm.
and when we have a difficult situation in our life, at that time we are totally wanting to be in control of the situation.
Yeah.
Then it means that there is no God. That's why we are wanting to have hold the situation. So it's a strong disbelief about God also then. So we also do not know where our generation or where we are heading towards in spirituality. So we are strong disbelievers of the beliefs we speak. And that is where the whole journey of the karma or the game of the karma starts depleting itself within us. So even we are at a certain point, we are unhappy about things. Even when we are getting everything in life, we are still unhappy about things. So the happiness would come in the materialistic form or the physical form and it would just vanish because we are not happy with what we've got. We are just happy because the other person did not get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole intention. You were never playing the game for yourself. You were never playing the game of your life. You were playing the game, or you were not wanting the other person to receive that ball. So when we talk about karma, people have explained it in so many different ways, but karma is very simple. We all have to do it. We have all are doing and have to do. It's a default setting. We cannot alter it. It's like you're running a Linux program in your computer, or if you're running a Mac, it has to be, or it's a Windows, so it's a different program. So that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the softwares you're going to use? What are the kind of accessories you're going to use? That's what the result of your karma would. The programs you would write in that. It's nothing to do with the karma. It's always going to be a default setting. So with every human, it's the same default setting. The only thing is how you would play the game. What is the program you're going to write? And how is the universe going to read your program? Because if we talk about law of manifestation or law of attraction, the universe holds no power, it is you. You're putting everything into the universe through your karma or the way you think about others. That's what you're receiving. That's a gravitational pull. It's a simple science. It's not a rocket science, it's a simple science. If we talk about physics, so it's the physics, chemistry, and biology of your life. That's what I teach people. How you have, by your own hands, have you defaulted your own physics, chemistry, and bio? Because your physics are your thoughts, your chemistry are your emotions, and the chemical reaction happening in your body is all about your feelings. We never understand that. And that's what is resulting in our karma, maybe the disease in the body. That's where, because the body has this beautiful, beautiful alchemy where it can heal itself. There is no, even today, if you look at the medical industry, they still do this placebo test with every medicine. So without even giving the medicine, they are healing people. So the body has this default setting. So when we are defaulting our karma, when we are not using the right settings, that's what the default programming is corrupting itself. That's what whole karmic journey is all about. And how you use that car or 12 laws of karma, because after 12 laws of karma, there is only the divine. So if you are playing the game in the right way, there's no human who can stop you from anything. There is no human in this world who can give you anything or who can take away anything from you.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it just for the words. I live that journey completely. And I've reached here by only walking on those 12 laws of karma.
Ma'am, how do you be a observer in life?
See, the biggest challenge is that we are always in the default settings. I see more people looking at others and feeling more through other pain through other people's life and or other people's success than focusing on themselves. And the second worst part is that when we talk about the observer mode, we are observing others to reach a certain point, not even knowing that is that our strength or is it our weakness. So we are physically being those observers who are physically looking at people. So when you ask about the observer, a true observer is like being true like nature. When you go into the nature, you think that you're looking at nature, sitting in that beautiful scene. But if you look at it in the vice versa, the universe is also looking at you, or the nature is also looking at you. So you need to be if you want to be the observer or become that observer, you have to become like nature. That is the true essence of being an observer. Not being the observer you physically are. In that moment, you are that physical body who's going and making that observation. But you are not able to see that the universe or the nature is also observing you. So that's the beauty about it. That if you really want to be that observer, become like that nature, where you are just letting everything flow in your life, not letting go. Most of the people think about, oh, letting go, letting go, letting go. If you are letting go, you're still controlling the outcome. You never let go of anything because you're also trying to hold the outcome. But when you're a true observer, you let flow of everything. So everything in that state is just natural. It's just silent. It's just it's just balance. So the nature is not judging who's this person standing across. The nature is not judging is this person rich or poor? Is this person hungry or
Mhm.
greedy? It's just letting you in. And that's what we don't let others do. Because we have this quality, beautiful quality of judging everybody and putting a tagline or something to somebody's name or a thought to somebody. That is how we treat people and think about people. But that also creates a pain in our life. So the way we see people, people also start seeing us the same way. And if you look at nature, if you and your friend go into a place which is very beautiful, your friend would observe it in a different way and you would observe it in a different way. So that's how we observe people,
Ma'am, how to see things as it is?
by not putting a tagline or a judgment to it.
Like, I think we are so much conditioned to judge everything.
I think I always say this powerful statement that the place we are born in, the families we are born in, corrupt our souls. The first thing, when we corrupt our own children by telling them this is good and this is bad, this is ugly, this is beautiful, or even telling them how they should behave or how they should not behave. So when we talk about, oh, they should now today The schools teach children how to be natural, how to be artists, but first we take it away from them, and then we want to artificially do it. So if we are becoming more of those artificial inseminated people. And that is why if you look at even the feminine energy today in the society, so many women are not able to have natural birth. They're not able to naturally have children. So these challenges are starting right at the beginning of in our families. And I always say this one very important thing, that despite we love our children so much, despite we want the best for our children, we become their own enemies, not knowing what we should be giving them. So that's where the first touch point of the emotional corruption happens. The conditioning, what you talk about, or if you understand it in a more deeper way, that is how I put it. That we start the soul corruption at the grassroots level. When the child is born, the heart chakra is so powerfully open, but we start shutting it down. And then we later on want them to meditate and get connected to spirituality. The child is so pure and it knows everything. He knows everything. He is so powerful because he's in the purest form of the soul. By the age of 3, they start forgetting. Till then, they do not even understand. They don't know anything. They are anybody comes to them, and if they are completely in that love energy and completely compassionate, they would go to them and they would just hug them or start playing with them. So they do not know. So the conditioning begins right from the moment we are born and the moment we are being told this is good, this is bad, and that's how we live our entire life. So that is why we're never able to see our soul, we're never able to see our passion, we are never able to drive out that passion.
So, meditation is the only way to, like, how to again be a child and understand what we are meant for and what is the purpose of being here. How do you find that?
The first purpose of the soul is love. If you see any relationship or anybody, the first thing is you'll always think about love. Did the person like you? Did the person love you? So that's the essence of the soul, is love. That's what it has come here for. The only thing is it has different lessons or different ways of understanding the lesson, or different emotions, you would put it in a better way, that these are the different emotions. Through anger, even when we are angry we want to be loved, even when we are upset we want to be loved. So everybody wants to be loved. There is not even a single soul who would say, I never want to be loved. We are fighting to be loved. So that's the essence of the soul. And to become, when we are say that, how do we get it? The basic thing is that just start giving it. It's not a mathematics. Relationships are not about mathematics. They're about giving. But instead of giving, we are always wanting to be given. So that's the complete opposite of it. What we're wanting, what we are craving for, we are not ready to give it to others. But I think if you would be hungry, you would understand the hunger of somebody else, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
But instead, when we are more hungry, we become more vulnerable and we become more impatient, more impulsive, and we start doing it in the negative way. So that is how it works. So instead of thinking about it, start giving it. Start loving others, like Mother Teresa. If Mahatma Gandhi wouldn't have thought, India wouldn't have got freedom. Now people can say so many things about Mahatma Gandhi today. It's easy to say later on, but it's difficult to be somebody, isn't it?
Yes. Like, we will never know.
Even when we look at Mother Teresa, we will say, "Oh, yeah, we never know." I think I really respect Mahatma Gandhi so much because he really used the power of ahimsa. And if you look at Nelson Mandela, he copied him.
Mm-hmm.
He truly believed in Mahatma Gandhi. And I've seen, like, when I work with people who are my international clients, I see they respect our culture so much. They truly believe. They are the true believers of the belief, not the non-believers of the believer, being the believers. So first we need to have a reality check with our belief system. That what are we actually believing in? Who actually are we? What do we want? If you look at any of the these people, they come to India, they go to the ashrams, they sit in pure meditation, they really have those connections, they make those connections, they make sure they are for that purpose here and they fulfill that purpose. But even when we are going to a place, we are more focused in what we would get physically than what we would get spiritually.
Mm.
So that's the biggest, I think, gap which we miss out. And that's why the Westerners come into India and get so much. That's the key. They're totally in belief, in sync with our system. And that's what I love about them. That's like, it's not that because I work with them, I work with so many Indian clients also, but the kind of difference of culture, what I have understood, why they get so much and so easily, because they become that complete flow, complete nature. They're not judging or they're not being biased about anything. So that's what I really love about uh, being the person itself, being the soul itself.
Ma'am, in this generation, we want us to be accepted by everyone. Like, this is not the case every time everyone will accept us the way we are. So, how do we handle rejections in our daily life?
Why do you feel rejected? My question is that why, like I started my journey, or I think I'm the only person who writes Energy Alchemist. Many people write many different things, but I chose my own title. I
Hmm.
never thought who would accept me because I had no rejection in myself. We have this rejection because we feel that within ourselves. Because we ourselves cannot accept us. So there is no rejection outside. It's already existing inside. So you need to first check, have a reality check where the rejection within yourself is coming. When I was a kid, my father always told me that there is nothing a woman can't do, what a man can't do.
Hmm.
So I never had a disbelief of a equality or a gender bias or anything like that. So for me, it's a truth. That's why I've walked my journey all alone. Put my own title to it. People have started following me. If I would have this craving, or I would have had this thought that people would believe in me or not believe in me, because that's my own challenge. That's my own problem. Because I'm not able to conquer my own inner space. So that's the reason we are not accepted by others. That's why now the pure person is, nobody can reject you until and unless you're not rejecting yourself. That's the energy how you throw it out. So that's the first thing you need to accept, is accept yourself, the way you are and who you want to be. That's the first thing. So even if you're a non-believer of something, just say that you're a non-believer. That's how you start your journey. But people are constantly saying or doing things which who they are not. And I always very strongly believe that everything is not made for everybody. We all have our own different soul purpose. Like I coach so many people, I coach so many students. I always make sure that they find their own journey, because no people's journey, two people's journey can be similar. Everybody's journey is different. There can be a 70% similarity to 80% similarity, but 20 to 30% would always be different. And that's how it is.
Ma'am, in our journey, there may be a feeling of uncertainty that even though we like what we are about to do, there may be some chances of failing at that particular thing.
Hmm.
And how to give our full 100% even though we know there is some point of failing at that particular thing.
Do you want me to give a simple answer, or what kind of answer do you want? But if you want a simple answer, whenever you think about a difficult situation, think about death. Death is the last situation, and there can be nothing else other than death, or exiting this timeline of the body or the soul journey. So I think I would even, I don't know, you might feel that, and I have succeeded, that's why, but in my first year, it really took me a lot of effort. I also failed a lot of times. I also fell down. But I will tell you only one thing, which I always tell everybody. It's not important how you fell or how we fall. The journey lies in how fast you get up. That's the key. And everybody would fall. There is not even a single person on this earth who will not fall, because they choose a path which they believe in, or it's their soul journey or their soul purpose, whatever way they want to. That is how leaders are born. They're not scared of falling. They know that in every fall, they will rise up very fast and become more stronger every time. This past 1 year has really taught me a lot of things, have made me understand. So I've never ever thought about failure. Whenever I start anything, Like I've done this work, this is my passion. There is, like, if you look at from a perspective that it's my family business, no, it is not. I've created my own journey, I've carved my own journey, I've trained so many people, and I've healed so many people, but I never had this fear that are people going to understand. And I think when we start putting this into the universe, that people going to understand, or are people not going to understand, that is where we start doubting our own capabilities. And I think that is the key where we fall.
Ma'am, what is your one message for the upcoming generation?
I think you are the most blessed generation. I'll give you the reason. We were a generation where our parents would tell us what to do and what not to do. And I think because of that, your generation is blessed. Because what we don't get, we always give it to our children. So you are the most blessed generation who can really, really do so much wonders. And the second most beautiful part is that you have so much in hand resource, which we never had. But one thing our generation had is this beautiful part called the hope. Despite your generation has so much of capability and so much of facilities, but it falls short of the hope. And I think that is what this generation needs to develop: more faith in themselves, more belief in themselves, more connection within themselves.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being on this show. It's been very, you shared too many deep messages in this podcast, and I will re listen it a lot of times to understand more about it in depth.
I hope by listening to this podcast, you would be able to find your own soul purpose.
Yes, ma'am, I was introduced to newer perspectives.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I feel honored.